Welcome to the Ultimate 0% Business Credit Course. This is the best and most comprehensive course on YouTube. It is completely free. I'm giving you over $10,000 worth of value, so make sure you sit down in a quiet room, have a pen, a notepad out, be extremely focused, because if you follow the steps correctly in this video, you can have access to over $100,000 at a 0% intro rate for the next 12 months. This won't take long. It is pretty easy. All you have to do is follow the steps. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get started here. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to focus on our personal credit. Personal credit is the foundation to everything in the credit world. It's how lenders are going to trust us. It's how we're going to get money. It's how we're going to get in nice apartments, buy homes and cars. If you want nice things in America, this is your number one priority. So let's do it right. Step one, we're going to jumpstart everything, and we're going to make our file, our credit file, look extremely reputable. And we're going to do that by borrowing someone else's account. So this is called an authorized user. Basically, an authorized user is someone who has been given permission to use a primary account holder's card to make purchases, but is not legally responsible for making payments. So basically, when you're a young kid, your dad can add you as an authorized user on his primary credit card, and it will report on your credit profile, which means we are going to inherit his age, his payment history, and his overall credit limit on that card, and that can really help boost our own personal credit score. So when looking for a good authorized user account, you want to make sure that that person has a very high credit limit on the credit card. They want to have low utilization, preferably they're paying it off in full before their statement date is due every single month, and they have a long credit age with that card, preferably 5 to 10 years or more. Perfect example of an authorized user that I took advantage of was my grandma. My grandma had a credit card open for 20 years. She had a credit limit of over $20,000, and she had perfect payment history. So I put that authorized user on my account when I was about 17 years old. And by the time I was 18, I was able to apply for my first credit card at Chase. And instead of having to get a secured credit card at a crappy bank, I was able to go directly to the best bank in the United States, and they offered me my own credit limit on my own personal primary credit card. And that was only possible because I had an authorized user reporting for so long with positive history. Now, something to note, these can backfire. So if you get added as an authorized user and that person decides to stop paying that card, and now they have missed payments, you are now going to reflect that negative history. So it can reflect good history or bad history. Make sure the person's responsible. And the other thing is, if you're asking a family member, just tell them they can cut the credit card in half when it gets sent in the mail. You're not actually going to be spending money on it, okay, unless they let you. But really, we're just doing this for history, okay? Step two, we want to be prepared through this process. Everything in credit takes time, and you need to do everything right the first time, and you need to follow the correct steps. So right now, what you should do is you create an LLC. Okay, this is a limited liability company. This is your first business that you're going to be creating. And when you create the business, you want to make sure you're creating it in a low risk industry. Okay, low risk industry examples would be a consulting industry, marketing, advertising. All of these are low risk, right? It's mostly just you working on a computer. But when you get into things with liquor and handling money and real estate, right, now you're dealing with more employees, you're dealing with equipment, potential hazards, injury. Banks don't like to lend to high risk businesses. So, for example, if you're in real estate, right, you don't want to lie about the business you're in. So what you do is you set up two LLCs. You have your real estate LLC, which you're just going to be funneling your revenue through. And then you're going to set up a consulting LLC that will consult your real estate business. And that is the business you're going to get the business funding on. Okay. So you can always get funding for high risk businesses. Just do it in the smart way where you're going to set up a consulting LLC for the high risk business. Now, I like to set up all of my businesses on LegalZoom. It's really easy. It's a few $100s. They give you your articles of organization. They give you your EIN number, and they even can make operating agreements for you. So it's very easy. Step 3. This is also really a prep step. This is, doing a little bit extra, going the extra mile because it gets us the best results. So what I want you to do is I want you to open up business checking and personal checking with Chase, with Bank of America, and with US Bank. Okay, these are all incredible tier 1 banks. And the reason why we want to do this is because this is how you build relationships with the banks. Okay, there's a scoring system internally with every bank, and it's a point-based system. And every account you have with them, whether it be a personal checking, personal savings, business checking, business savings, car loan, you get a point for every account you have. So you want to have more internal points at each bank. So before we go and apply for our first credit card over at Chase, if we could have a personal checking and a personal savings account funded with some money in there, it's been sitting in there for a pretty long time, and we have an authorized user, the likelihood of us getting approved for our first card is very high. Whereas if you had no authorized user and you had no bank accounts with Chase, now you're going into the branch with zero relationship. Do you think they're going to want to give you a card if you've never invested in them? Absolutely not. So think of it just like building a relationship with a person. You always lead with value first. You want to give people things before you receive. And it's the same thing with banks. So make sure you season these accounts, and then it is time for the fun stuff. So now we're going to get into the credit cards. So right now I'm going to review my favorite personal credit stack. And there's a very specific reason on why I start with Chase first. Chase is the best tier 1 bank. They give the best limits, and they have something called the 5 and 24 rule, which states you cannot have more than 5 open personal credit cards and personal accounts altogether and get approved for Chase cards within 24 months. So you must have under 5 in 24 months if you want to get approved, which means we should knock out all Chase cards first before going to other banks, so we don't have to worry about this 5 and 24 rule. That is why the first card I'm going to apply for is going to be a Freedom card. Now, they have Freedom Flex, Freedom Unlimited, the regular Freedom. They have a bunch of Freedoms. I just picked one that is right for me. So if you want to go on Chase's website, go check out the Freedom line, but they're all intermediate/beginner cards. So it's a great starter card to get. Now, the reason I love this as my first credit card is because, number one, I get access to Ultimate Rewards points. And this is so key when you are applying for credit cards. We want value, right? Obviously, I want to borrow money from the banks. I want purchase protection, but I want to get in their points system because these points are worth so much money when you redeem them for travel with transfer partners. So I'm always trying to get points. So I'm going to get a 20,000 sign up bonus points with this card. I also get 0% for 15 months on this card, which is pretty awesome, especially if you're in college or you're a young kid, right? The extra money at that age is great. And, although I don't recommend leaving balances on personal cards past the statement date, this is an exception. As long as it's 0%, you can leave a balance past the statement date. You pay the minimum monthly payment on the card to reflect positive history. And it's great for building history, and it's great for, having some extra capital on hand as a young kid. But if you're really trying to do this as fast as possible, then I would not recommend leaving it on there for 15 months. I would recommend just using this card for the allotted 91 days of time that I have here. Now, there's a reason why I say use this card for 91 days, because 3 months is a sufficient amount of history. As long as you are using this for all of your purchases and you're paying it off on time every single month, 3 days before the statement date, so it reflects on all the credit bureaus that it's paid off in full, then you're going to have sufficient history. The thing that people do that make mistakes is they use it for like a month, or they barely use it at all, and then they call in and request a credit limit increase expecting they're going to get one, or they do even worse and they go and apply for another card and they get denied. Why would a bank give you more money, whether it be on the same card or another card, if you're not even using the money they gave you? So you always want to show that you are utilizing all of the capital and all the benefits on the first card before you apply for the second card. So that is why I say 91 days, right? 90 days of using the card. On the 91st day, you can go ahead and apply for the second one. Now, the second card I want you to apply for is going to be an intermediate card. This is actually an airline partner card. United is partnered with Chase. And this is awesome because now, when you start using these credit cards, you're going to start traveling more because you just naturally have more opportunity. You have more points. You start to get some status, right? This card will give you free check bags. It gives you some miles towards getting status at United. It gives you club lounge access passes. So it's very, very valuable. And so this card is going to give you a little bit higher limit, right? On the first one, you'll probably get between $500 and $2,000. On this one, you'll probably get between $3,000 to $6,000. Okay. Now, this is where the technique needs to be stated. Okay. So you need to continue using card number one. I would just lighten up on the spend on here because now our new priority is the second one. What I like to do on all cards that I just want to keep open and keep active is I just put a subscription on it. So I'll put my Amazon subscriptions on there. I'll put a Netflix subscription on there, right? And at least it's just charging and I have it on auto pay and I don't have to think about it anymore. And this is going to continue to build history, okay? With this one, now this is our new primary spend card. So we're going to be putting our groceries on it. We're going to be putting our dinners on here. All of our active spend is now going predominantly on this United card. So we build history. Once again, every 30 days before the statement date, pay this thing off in full. If you guys want to get in the habit of just paying it off weekly, that's kind of what I do. I spend on my cards all throughout the week. And then usually on Friday, I just pay them all off. That's completely fine too. I don't even wait for my auto pay to hit sometimes. I'm just in the habit of just paying these off. So you'll do that. 91 days goes by. Now we're ready to apply for our third card. And this is going to be the Big Daddy, the Sapphire Reserve. Okay, this is one of the best personal credit cards in the game. And the reason I love this card so much and why it's so important to get before we venture out into business credit is because we're going to get a huge limit on this card. The minimum limit they approve on this card is $10,000. So at a minimum, you're getting 10K, maybe you get 15, maybe you get 20. And that is going to look incredible in the eyes of the business lender when it's time to apply for those cards. We also get 3X on food and travel. Right now they have a 60,000 point sign up bonus and you get 1.5X more points when you redeem for travel in the Chase Ultimate Rewards portal, which I still don't recommend you do. And I have more videos on how to truly redeem your points for 5 to 10X the value using transfer partners. Anyway, we're going to make this card the new primary card, right? All of our spend, active spend is going on here. Never use your debit card again at this point. And we want to just keep these last two cards active with some subscriptions, make sure auto pay is on. Beautiful. So all in all, we have 91 days here. We got 91 days here, 91 days here. Okay, so we're looking at 9 months of building personal credit history before we can go and apply for the next card. Okay, one of the things that I recommend you have before we go and apply for business credit is I really like to see a good credit mix on my clients' profiles before they go and get 0% funding, because you're just going to get such better results. Okay, banks like to see that you have a wide variety of accounts. You know, you have your credit cards, of course, then maybe you have a mortgage, maybe you have a personal loan out. If you want, you can open up a pledge loan at Navy Fed. There's also other options out there, which is basically a savings account that reports as an installment loan that's going to build your credit history. Okay, so check out pledge loans, car loans, student loans. Student loans are a great thing. A lot of people try to rush to pay them off. But in my eyes, if you have 4 to 5 individual student loans and they're all at low interest and you can just make the monthly payments, that is so amazing for your credit history. It adds more accounts. They're all installments. They're healthily reporting. I would keep them. So ideally, you want to get one of the following. And I know you're going to complain in the comments like, Colin, you're making me buy a house or a car. No, you don't need to do that. You can literally get a pledge loan for free and it's a bank account. So it's just going to report on your credit history and it's going to help everything. So overall, you want to have, for best results, 5 or more primary accounts. Primary accounts just means personal accounts that you own on your credit file. Okay, that could be a credit card, that could be any of these. All right, now let's go and review optimization. Okay, this is so important. If you could just get your credit profile optimized on the personal side one time and just keep it like that, you are set for life. I've had the same personal credit file for the past 5 years. Nothing really changes unless some new cool personal card comes out, like the Bilt credit card like 2 years ago. I'll get it. But other than that, it's the same thing. I just keep it the same because it's optimized and it can't really get better. So this is how we optimize before we get into business credit. First things first, we want to make sure we have good utilization. Preferably pay them all off and have them reporting at zero. That's what I do. You must have at least under 30% on each card utilized. But for best result, 10% or under. Okay, and that's the camp that I am in. Number of primary credit cards, minimum is 3, right? I gave you 3 here, but best results would be 5. And we'll talk about some other personal credit cards that you can get later on in this video and why they would make sense. Collective limits, okay, this is really important. You want to have a sweet spot of personal credit limits, okay? So minimum is 15K, right? And that would kind of be in this camp right here. But if you're really trying to get access to $100,000, $200,000 in business credit limits at 0%, then you really want to be in this camp right here, 40 to 80K. And to get in this camp, you're going to need more personal cards than just these 3. And I talk about this a lot more in my program and also in some other videos, but I'll touch on this soon. And then you could also have too much collective limits. Like if I have 7 cards on the personal side and I have like $150,000 in limits, that's actually a bad thing because those banks that I have the high limits at, when I apply for business credit, they're going to look at all the credit they gave me on the personal side and they're not going to give me as much. So it's actually smart to call in and get those credit limits decreased if you have too much before applying to the business cards at that bank. That's a little bit more advanced. But anyway, hard inquiries. You want to have no more than 2 in the last 6 months whenever you're going to apply for a business credit sequence. Okay. Credit mix, like we talked about, you want to have a diversity in your credit profile. Credit cards, personal loans, student loans, mortgage, car loan, pledge loans, all of them work, right? And finally, average age. Minimum 2 years of average age, best results 5+ years. And now this is really easy to improve by adding an authorized user. Because if we find an AU, and you can buy them online with TradelineGenie.com, you could find an AU that has an account for 20 years. And let's say you only had 2 years of average age, you add that AU on, boom, all of a sudden you now have 10 just from adding on 1 AU. So this is very easily fixable. Now, here's some other little quirky things that you really need to have dialed in before you apply for your business credit. Turn off your fraud alerts. This is really important. If you've ever done credit repair in the past or you've made any alterations to your credit profile, you might have triggered the fraud alerts to come on all of the credit bureaus. And the problem with these is if you apply for a business card and you have your fraud alerts on, it's going to go into a manual review, which could make the banks ask you for more information like tax returns and income verification. And you do not want that, okay? You just want instant approvals based off the optimization of your personal credit file. And the way we can make sure that happens is just going on Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian and turning the fraud alerts off, okay? Next, we want to make sure everything is accurately reporting on our credit report. So make sure your personal information is the same when you're filling out these business applications and personal applications. Make sure that your address matches up, that your income is always the same when you put it on the applications. This is going to ensure accurate reporting and make sure you get approved. Okay, you don't want to have any negatives, no collections, no late payments, no derogatory marks whatsoever. This will obviously affect you a lot. Oh, I spelled negatives wrong. So I would definitely recommend not having any negatives. And if you need credit repair, we obviously help out all of our clients inside of my program, Credit Class. Reduce personal limits if needed. I touched on that briefly. Authorized user if needed, also talked on that. So overall, this is what your credit score is made up of. Just to show you what matters most is the payment history. Payment history is 35%. And so many of you have late payments on your credit cards. This is why your score is under 700. Then the utilization is the other 30%. Right here alone is 65% of your score is just pay your credit cards on time and keep your utilization at 0, right? So literally just pay them off and boom, you got this stuff tackled. New accounts, right? Just don't be stupid and open like 10 different accounts at once and you're not going to have too many inquiries. Length of history, like I said, there's not much you can do here besides just opening up a credit card at 18 years old and adding an authorized user if needed. And then your types of credit is just your mix, have a wide variety. I already taught you how to do that. So that's step one, right? We just went over step one. Now you have a fully optimized personal credit file. And now it's time to start the business stuff. And this is where we're going to get access to 0% capital. And this is also where we're going to get massive sign-up bonuses, huge point redemptions, and this is where the fun begins. So business credit hacks. Okay, so first up, we want to make sure that we're starting our business credit sequence with 0 to 2 inquiries in the past 6 months. So if you followed my personal credit plan, right now you would have only 2 inquiries, right? Because this is a 9-month period. So yeah, you have 3 total, but you only have 2 in the last 6 months. So you can do this sequence right here. So some other application hacks before we jump into the specific cards is always apply for these credit cards with relationship managers in the branch. So if you have a branch local to you, I would go in there, start a relationship with the relationship manager, and then when it's time to apply for the card, apply directly with them. Sometimes you could do it on Zoom, sometimes they could do it over email, but most of the time they just have you come in and they do the application with you in person. This is so essential because the relationship manager does the application and that goes directly to a representative. So it goes to an underwriter, which is a person who's going to review the application manually and try to get you approved for the limit that you requested. Whereas if you apply just, with a link online, it goes through this automated system and it's not going to give you as high as a credit limit. So inside my program, we really hone in on our relationship managers and we give access to all of the relationship managers that we've built up over the past 6 years, and we give them directly to our students. So we have relationship managers for every tier 1 bank and also small credit unions and smaller banks in every state. Always say you're employed on applications. This is huge. A lot of people say they're self-employed and this automatically takes a hit right away. And you want to say you're employed because it's less risk. So even if you are an entrepreneur, you're employed by your own business. You're not lying here. That's the truth. So always say you're employed for better results. Now, this goes hand in hand with the application and what to actually put on there. And you got to be optimistic with these credit applications, okay? You want to say that your business is going to do well, right? This is all projected income. They never actually verify anything. So, there's no harm, no foul here just by you being optimistic. Why else would you open up a business unless you're planning on making millions of dollars? So I'm always, boosting these numbers. And also, if I'm going to be making a lot of revenue and spending a lot of money, I'm going to need a lot of employees to achieve that. And the more employees you put, the better, right? That means the more money they're going to have to give you. Okay. So now having these down, let's go into the actual sequence. And now this is a very basic business credit sequence. I've already given it out. No one really gives this stuff out, but I'm giving out the order. I'm giving out everything. So if you do this, you're going to get access to a lot of money. Now, this first sequence is going to cost you 2 hard inquiries. The cool thing about business credit cards is anytime we get inquiries added to our personal file from applying for these, we can remove them because they're not attached to anything on our personal credit history. So if you go and you look at your credit report right now and you see you have 10 inquiries, but only 2 of the 10 are attached to personal open accounts, you can remove the other 8. And we teach you exactly how to do this. We give you the letter templates to send in. We give you the phone number to call. And you can remove them all within a 3 to 7 day period every single time. So what we're going to do, right, is make sure that we're always in that 2 or under range in the past 6 months. So right now we're at 2 inquiries. We got to apply for an Amex Business Platinum card, right? And that's going to get us to 3 inquiries. So before we apply for the rest of them, I would want to wipe this one. Okay, I would want to wipe 1 and get it down to 2 again. Then we can apply for the rest and ensure we're going to get approved. Okay, the cool thing about Amex, though, is when you apply for Amex, you're only going to get an inquiry 1 time. So if you already have a personal account with them or any accounts with them, they're not going to hard pull you. You get a soft inquiry, and it's not going to show up on your credit file at all. Okay, so once we have our foot in the door with them, they're no longer going to pull, which is great. They just look directly at your internal relationship to gauge if you're going to get approved or not. Okay, now, the Amex Business Centurion card, the Platinum card, this is a phenomenal credit card because you're going to get so many benefits when it comes to travel. You get the Centurion Lounge, which is, a global lounge network, really nice lounges. You also get TSA global pre-check, which is awesome. No more waiting in lines. You get Priority Pass membership as well. This is a charge card, so there's no credit limit on here. This is not the best for building history. This is just really good for making sure we get approved for the actual business credit cards. This is a business credit card charge, this is a business charge card. This is business credit card, right? So what we want to do is we want to get this card first, and this gets our foot in the door, and now we can go and apply for these ones. You would probably get denied if you didn't get this one first. So always get a charge card first. Spend on it for a week or 2, then we can go and apply for the 0% ones, okay? Now, here we go. We are now going to apply for our first 0% business card. And the first one I want you to apply for is the Business Plus. This gives us 0% for 12 months. And if you're approved, you're going to then immediately apply for the other card offered by Amex, which is the Business Cash Card, okay? Now, another really cool thing about Amex is they are really lenient when it comes to credit limit increases. So you could call in right when you get this card in the mail, and let's say you only got approved for $7K, you could ask for 3x the credit limit, and you'll most likely be approved. Okay, this is huge. Now, after these 2 cards, right, you should have between, anywhere between like 15 to 50K between these, right? I've seen people get 25K on each card. I've seen people get 10K on this one and 7K on this one, right? So it's really all depends on your personal credit file. But like I said, you can call in and request credit limit increases for 3x on both of them, okay? Now, after Amex, we're going to venture into Chase. Chase is my all-time favorite. I have over 11 of these cards here, the Business Inks, and they give the highest limits by far. You can also apply directly with a relationship manager, which is definitely needed if you want to get a 50K plus limit on each of these cards. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply for them, apply one at a time, right? If you're approved for the first one, then you can go and apply for the second one. If you are denied for the first one, you obviously cannot apply for the second one because you'll be denied again. From these 2 cards alone, you should have another $25,000 to $50,000. Okay. Now, just from this first stack, we have around $50,000 at 0%. And the best part is we did all of this within around 9 months of starting our credit. Okay. 9 months is all it takes of following the right steps in the right direction to get these cards approved. Okay. Now, if you want more capital, the best part is we can wipe the inquiries we got, right? So we got 2 inquiries overall from this stack. We're going to wipe them. And now we're going to go and we're going to apply for our next round at other tier 1 banks. Okay. So before we jump into Bank of America and US Bank, it's very important to note that these banks are relationship banks. You will never get approved for these cards if you don't have this done first. Okay. So you 100% need checking accounts open, business and personal, season the accounts with some money for 30 plus days. And if you really want to make sure you're approved, apply for personal cards, one at each, one at Bank of America, one at US Bank first, and use those cards for 3 months. This is also going to improve your personal credit stack. Remember, the best result on the personal side is having 5 credit cards. So if you really are cool with waiting on time and you want the maximum funding results, I would do these 3 cards first on the personal side. Then I would get one with US Bank and one with Bank of America. And I would spend on that for a while. And then I would go ahead and start the business credit sequence. Okay. This will take more time. This will take you, over a year to get everything done on the personal side. But when it comes time to do your sequence, and if you do all of this in order, you're going to get over $100,000 at 0%. Okay. So B of A also has a 2, 3, and 4 rule, which states you can't get more than 2 cards in 30 days, 3 cards in 12 months, and 4 cards in 24 months. So with these cards, right, you're going to get unlimited 1.5x points here. You get a 30K sign-up bonus. This one you get $300 statement bonus and 3% cash back. Bank of America only offers for 9 months, but still, I'll take it, right? So you can apply for these 2. Then you can go over to US Bank. If you get this one approved, you can apply for this one. Bank of America has Bank of America actually has 5 0% business cards, and you can get all 5, okay, which is pretty awesome. You just have to do it in this order, and you can't get more than 4 in 24 months, okay? Then if you still want more credit, right, what you would do is you would wipe the business inquiries, right, because we just got 2 inquiries again, because you can double dip. You'll get 1 for Bank of America, and you can get 2 cards approved. You get 1 for US Bank, and you can get 2 cards approved. Because these cards don't report on our personal credit file, we can wipe them off, right? We could do credit repair. We can wipe them off. Now we go for round 3. How many rounds can you technically do on an LLC? I would say around 5, and then it starts to, be less. It starts to get detrimental, right? I'd rather just open a new LLC and start to fund that one, and I'm going to get much higher limits, okay? But round 3, it's like, what other banks are there? Well, that's where Credit Class comes in. We have relationships with thousands of banks. We have all tier 1 banks, relationship managers, local credit unions, and we have a state-by-state business guide that lists every bank for each state in order of importance of how much credit limits we see them giving out. So if you want that guide, you can go ahead and click the link below, and you can apply to join our exclusive program. So now that we have, let's say, $50,000 to $100,000 in 0% credit, we have an awesome personal credit file that's giving us access to all these points. What do we do next? Well, we invest. We use this money. Okay, we take advantage of the bank's money and we get rich with it. All right, this is what I've been doing for the past 6 years. I've purchased real estate with credit cards. Right, this is my long-term rental that I purchased. I did the house hacking method back in 2020 when I bought this with credit. I lived in there for a couple months. I had tenants. They paid my mortgage. Then I moved out. I filled it up with all tenants, and I cash flowed about $1,000 a month for 5 years. And then I just sold it for over $50,000 in profit. And this was all done with credit cards. I've flipped watches before, right? This one was up over $100,000 from when I bought it. I ended up making around $45K on this watch, and I wore my dream watch for around 3 months, and then I sold it, and then I paid off all the 0% cards, and I made 45 grand. Pretty awesome, right? Bitcoin mining. I started a Bitcoin mining company off of business credit, and now we have almost 100 clients, and we're helping people save millions of dollars in taxes every single year by mining Bitcoin, and we allow them to pay with 0% business credit. You can scale your info business, right? This business that I'm doing right here, I've used credit cards to buy my office equipment, my camera stuff, right? I pay for my teams overseas, my back-end systems, my softwares, all with 0% business credit. And this allows me to float more time, right, to make more money. So if my startup cost for my info product was $10,000 and I don't want to come out of pocket, I'll use the bank's money. And then over the next month, when I create a bunch of YouTube videos and I have people sign up for my program, I'm able to pay that off. So the business is funded fully by the bank. Okay, you can also liquidate money off cards, and you could use this capital for your trading account. Right, you can fund your Forex account, your crypto trading account. Right? If you want to start an e-commerce brand, you can do that. I started my own supplement company called Division One Health. It's a beef organ supplement company, and I did that solely off of business credit. Right, so there's so many incredible avenues that you can go down, and the best part is you don't have to figure it out alone. You can join an exclusive community with over 1,000 people all working actively on these goals of getting business credit from the banks at 0% and deploying it into businesses. And we all work together to have massive results. Okay. And now what next, right? We got credit. Our credit's incredible. We can get whatever house we want. We can buy amazing cars. We can, fund our businesses. But now through all of that, we got a new problem. We have so many points, we don't even know what to do with it. So we got to go start traveling the world. And that's what we do next, right? So as our life is completely transformed by credit and we're starting to make passive income and more active income from our businesses, we now have millions of points being accumulated from our business spend because we're spending all of our business expenses on these cards. We're racking up millions of points. Now we can go start traveling the world. We can take our friends, our family, right? This is a full paid vacation, all paid by business credit that I took my family on. We went to Bora Bora. This is like $100,000 vacation that I got almost basically for free. And I was able to take my entire family on this unbelievable dream trip. And I've done this all over the world. We've been to Hawaii. We've been to Mexico. We've been to the Maldives. This is not the first one. It's certainly not going to be the last. So with all of this, we're now able to earn millions of points. I teach you how to achieve top status at every hotel, get 50 to 80% off Marriott's worldwide, how to fly standby on airplanes for free, how to get all the top status at rental car companies, and really just how to travel in luxury for little to no money. And I've been doing this since 2019, and I definitely say, I've been able to travel around 26 countries. I would say hundreds of thousands of dollars in free travel at this point. And if you're kind of confused on how to do all of this, that is why I created a full credit travel hacking course inside of my community credit class. So if you are excited and, if you got value from this video and you really want to take it to the next level, then I want to tell you a little bit about Credit Class 2.0. This is my exclusive community. Okay. It's a 12-section course on credit, travel hacking, investing, and more. And we have 20 plus video chapters per section. Okay, so it is full step-by-step guide through everything you need to know about everything we just talked about. I hold your hand, and it is not a course where you just come in and take notes and never hear from me again. It is fully interactive and customized to you. Okay, we have a personalized credit game plan that we devise for every single client that comes in. So my team and yourself are going to know exactly where you're at and where you need to go. And we're going to help you get there every step of the way. We also give you a state-by-state 0% business credit card guide, which when we talked about before, it's like, where do we go after our second round? Well, this is where you go. And we have even better first round techniques as well. So you just click on the state that your LLC was formed in, and you're going to see 20 plus banks for every state and the order of which you should be applying and how to apply to them, what to put on the applications, what not to do. We have data points from thousands of people that have come through this program, and we're able to get you the best results. Okay. We also have a credit repair course and letter templates that we give you, so you never have to pay for credit repair again. We empower you with the information, the resources, so you could do this for the rest of your life, for yourself, for your friends, for your family. We also have weekly live calls. Every single week, I show up to my live calls and I work with my students in a group basis, right? So you can come in, ask me any questions about your business, your credit stack, getting 0%, and I'm helping you directly. We also have a very active Discord with over 1,000 active members. So if you enjoyed this video, obviously smash the like button, hit subscribe, send this to a friend or family member that needs to learn a thing or two about credit. And if you are interested in taking your life to the next level, then click the link in the description to apply for our exclusive program, Credit Class 2.0. You must apply. You must qualify. We don't accept everyone. And with that being said, I hope to see you inside. Guys, this has been an absolute pleasure. I wanted to drop a freaking banger for the last video of the 30-day challenge. So this is it. This is the ultimate 0% business credit course. I had so much fun. Thank you, God, for this opportunity. Thank you, God, for aligning me back on my purpose, on my path, something that you gifted me 6 years ago, all this knowledge and information I'm able to give back to the world. So all glory to God. Thank you. I love you guys. I appreciate you. And I'll talk to you soon. Let's go.